Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
The Hlookup and Vlookup functions appear in the lookup and reference function category and are the two primary functions used to look up table data. You can use these functions to look up a column value in a table and then return a corresponding column value from the same row. The first, Hlookup, looks up a data value in a table structured in rows with a header column to its left. The second and far more commonly used function, Vlookup, looks up data values in a traditional columnar table. Based on the layout of the table in which you are looking up data, you will need to use either one or the other to look up a table field's data value. There are 3 required arguments and one optional 4th argument to know before you create a lookup function. Arguments are the information required for a function to work correctly. First, you must know the lookup value. This is the value to look up in the table. This is often a cell reference. Second, you must know the cell range reference of the table in which to look up the first value. This is the table array. Third, you need to know the column or row index number. This is the number of columns to the right of the leftmost column, or the number of rows down from the table's top row within which to look for the data to return. For defined tables, this is often the name of the field as shown in the table's header row. The optional 4th argument is range lookup. This is a logical value, meaning true or false, which you can enter if needed. If omitted, it is assumed to be true. What it does is specify whether or not to perform a ranged lookup on the table data. To find an exact data lookup match, often when looking up text values, you can insert false for the range lookup argument to find an exact match in the table. For example, assume you have a columnar customer table in a worksheet. In that sheet, you want to create a cell that automatically looks up the customer's address when you type the customer's company name into an adjacent cell. Assume the first column of the table contains the customer's company names, and the third column of the table contains the customer's addresses. You can then write a function that takes the value of the cell next to it, which is the lookup value, compares it to the customer table, which is the table array, looks up the customer's company name in the first column until it finds a match, and then counts over 3 columns, which is the column index number, to find the customer's address. Since we want the function to find an exact match on the customer's name, we will also add the false value to the optional 4th range lookup argument in this case. After creating the formula, you could type a customer's company name into the cell being looked up, and the cell into which you had placed the formula then displays the customer's address after looking it up in the table. In this case, we would use the vlookup function because the example stated that we had a traditional columnar table in which we were looking up data. The syntax of a lookup function is either equals vlookup, open parenthesis, lookup value, comma, table array, comma, column index number, comma, range lookup, close parenthesis, or equals hlookup, open parenthesis, lookup value, comma, table array, comma, row index number, comma, range lookup, close parenthesis. When you are entering the table array value for the lookup function, it may be useful to assign it a range name or make it an absolute reference. Named ranges are always assigned as absolute references, and this ensures the table array argument won't change if you copy and paste the formula. Newer versions of Excel automatically name defined tables in a workbook. You can see them by selecting them from the name box. You could also click the Name Manager button in the Defined Names button group on the Formulas tab of the ribbon to see them in the Name Manager dialog box. If you don't use named ranges, you can assign the table array as an absolute reference by typing the $symbol before both the column reference letter and the row reference number for both cell references in the range. Remember, if you don't do this, the lookup function may not work if you copy it to a new location.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.